Chosen one. If these words are reaching you right now, it is because heaven has drawn you into a moment written for you long before you took your first breath. This is not coincidence. This is divine appointment. Something in your spirit has been sensing a pull, a stirring, a quiet pressure that you couldn't explain, and now your hidden identity is guiding you to the truth of who you really are. You are standing at the threshold of revelation, anointed one, a moment where the veil lifts and the signs that have followed you since childhood finally make sense. The sensitivity you carried, the dreams that felt too real, the emotions that hit deeper than others, knew the unexplainable protection in moments that should have broken you. These weren't accidents. They were markers placed inside you from the beginning. Heaven whispered them into your design. Before you were formed in the womb, God knew you and set you apart, just as written in Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. And now that calling is rising again, awakening your spirit, preparing your mind, aligning your entire being for what is about to unfold. Chosen one, breathe deeply and open your heart, because what comes next will shift your spirit, sharpen your identity, and begin a transformation that touches body, soul, and destiny. Chosen one. Take a breath right here, because what you are stepping into is not just another message. This is a divine unveiling of who you really are, beneath every layer of confusion, fear, and past identity. From the moment you were born, something in the unseen marked you. Maybe you did not have the words for it. Maybe those around you could not explain it. But heaven recognized it. You carried a sensitivity, a depth, a knowing that others dismissed. You felt the shift in a room before anyone spoke. You sensed danger before it appeared. You felt pulled away from people and places that did not honor your spirit. And all of that, chosen one, was the evidence of your spiritual origin calling you forward. You have always been different, not by accident, but by assignment. And now heaven is pulling the cover off what has been hidden inside you all along. There is a divine wave moving across the earth right now, and your spirit has already felt the pressure of it. That tightness in your chest, that sudden restlessness, that desire to step back from noise and dig into silence. That wasn't just life overwhelming you. It was heaven signaling you. I know what that feels like. There were seasons where I couldn't explain the heaviness I carried. I would wake up with the sense that something was shifting, even when everything around me looked the same. People thought I was overthinking. But deep down, my spirit knew. And if you're honest, your spirit has known too. You have felt God tugging at you, preparing you, aligning you for a moment like this, even when you didn't understand the assignment yet. Chosen one, you are entering a season where your hidden identity will begin to rise into full view. You may not see it yet, but heaven has been whispering your true name behind the scenes. You have walked through things you should not have survived. You carried weights that would have crushed an ordinary person, and the reason you're still here is because you were never ordinary. You were spiritually wired to withstand storms that others could not endure. You were designed with a resilience that came from your origin, not your upbringing. That is why you felt misunderstood. That is why people tried to silence you, underestimate you, or mold you into something smaller. They sensed something in you that they could not control. They recognized your light, even when you had not fully recognized it yourself. And now you are being called to rise into the truth of who you've always been. This is not about ego. This is about identity. This is about remembering what heaven spoke over you before the world placed its labels on your life. When I think back on moments where I nearly lost myself, I realize now that those were the moments heaven was pruning me, stripping away everything that didn't align with my calling. The relationships that fell apart, the jobs that didn't work out, the sudden loneliness. At the time, it felt like loss, but now I see it was divine clearing. I was being positioned, not punished. And you, chosen one, are in that same spiritual position right now. You may have felt isolated lately. You may have felt like you're drifting away from people you once trusted. You may feel like you don't fit anywhere, but this separation is sacred. Heaven pulls you away before heaven reveals you. It happened to prophets, to leaders, to every soul who carried an assignment too rare to be handled casually. Even Jesus retreated into the wilderness before stepping into his public ministry, and Scripture says in Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5 that you were set apart before you were born. That means your separation is not rejection, it is preparation. Chosen one, this divine wave is not here to drown you. It is here to expose what has been buried beneath years of noise and survival. God is awakening gifts inside you that you forgot you had. He is sharpening your intuition, heightening your discernment, and reconnecting you to the blueprint of heaven that has always been imprinted on your spirit. And I need you to hear this. The discomfort you feel right now is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something powerful is awakening. Butterflies struggle in the cocoon right before they break free. Seeds crack open before they sprout. You are in that sacred cracking, that spiritual stretching, that divine tension. You have been sensing the shift because the shift is happening inside you. And the reason you are hearing this message right now is because heaven is confirming what your soul has been whispering all along. You are stepping into a higher identity, one that requires clarity, strength, and spiritual awareness. And as this wave rises, your true nature will rise with it. You are not late. You are right on time. And everything in your life, even the pain you do not speak about, is pushing you toward the moment where heaven says, now. Chosen one, prepare yourself. Because what is coming next is not just transformation, it is revelation. Chosen one. As we continue deeper, I need you to recognize something sacred about your own journey, something most people overlook, but your spirit has been feeling for years. There have been moments in your life when you felt pulled away from environments that everyone else seemed comfortable in, moments when conversations drained you, even though you said almost nothing, moments when your intuition whispered warnings you couldn't logically explain. These weren't quirks or sensitivities. They were the early signs of a spiritual identity that heaven hid within you until the appointed time. And now that time is unfolding. You may not realize this yet, but your life has been filled with divine breadcrumbs leading you toward awakening. Think about those seasons when chaos erupted around you for no obvious reason, when one wrong person leaving your life suddenly brought peace back into your soul, or when unexpected clarity hit you after a long period of confusion. These shifts weren't random. They were spiritual markers put in place by God to guide you toward the truth of who you are becoming. I remember moments when I tried to force myself into spaces that didn't feel right, friendships that drained my spirit, paths that looked good on the outside but felt heavy on the inside. Every time I ignored the inner nudge, something went wrong. But each time I listened, doors opened, burdens lifted, and my spirit felt lighter. That's how God trains you to trust your spiritual instincts. And chosen one, you have been in that training for far longer than you know. There is a reason you've always seen deeper than others, why you could read energy before you heard words, why you sensed people's intentions before they showed their true colors. These abilities aren't coincidences. They are spiritual gifts, awakening in you gifts linked to your divine assignment. You didn't learn discernment. You were born with it. You didn't choose sensitivity. It was placed in your spirit before you took your first breath. And now those gifts, once suppressed or misunderstood, are rising to the surface with more strength, accuracy, and urgency. This is why certain environments are becoming harder for you to tolerate. Your spirit is outgrowing the spaces your old self once survived in. God is elevating your frequency, refining your awareness, and calling you into alignment with your true identity. And this alignment often begins with discomfort. When God starts revealing who you are, He also starts exposing what is not for you. You may notice that gossip no longer entertains you. Certain conversations feel spiritually heavy music, or content that once felt harmless now disrupts your peace. This is not you becoming too sensitive. This is your spirit stepping into maturity. Your discernment is sharpening because heaven is preparing you for greater movement. What you feel right now is a divine stretching. Some days you feel deeply connected, awakened, and clear. Other days you feel disconnected, quiet, or unsure of what direction to take. But both states are part of the same transformation. You are shedding spiritual weight, releasing buried emotions, and stepping into a higher realm of awareness. And this process requires patience, gentleness, and intentionality. Chosen one. One of the greatest signs of this awakening is that you no longer desire what once distracted you. You crave depth instead of noise, truth instead of attention, alignment instead of approval. You are not withdrawing from the world. You are returning to yourself. And as you return, memories of who you used to be may try to pull you back. Old patterns may attempt to resurface. Familiar temptations may call your name. But these are not setbacks. They are indicators that your spirit is shifting and the old identity is losing its grip. Every chosen soul goes through this. Even the greatest prophets experienced periods where identity and assignment clashed within them. The world wanted them one way, but God was reshaping them into something else entirely. You may feel that tension too, the pull between who you were and who you are becoming. But let me assure you, this conflict is evidence of your elevation. There is a moment in every chosen person's journey when they begin to recognize the difference between their spirit and their surroundings. They begin to feel when something is off, even if nothing is visibly wrong. They sense when a person is no longer aligned, even if there was no argument. They know when God is shifting them, even before the shift becomes visible. You have reached that moment. And what you feel is not instability. It is spiritual sensitivity awakening into its full capacity. You are hearing God more clearly. You are sensing danger sooner. You are recognizing blessings faster. You are reading the unseen with sharper intuition. This is the unveiling of your true identity, the revealing of the part of you that was always sacred, always set apart, always destined for something greater. Chosen one. The transformation you are experiencing is not just inward. Your external reality will soon begin to shift too. Relationships will change, opportunities will reposition, paths will open, and clarity will rise. And as these shifts unfold, one truth will echo louder within you. Nothing in your life was ever random. Every moment was preparing you. Every disappointment was refining you. Every separation was protecting you. Every season was shaping you into the chosen one heaven always knew you were. Chosen one. As we move further into this revelation, you must understand that what you are experiencing now is not simply emotional turbulence or psychological pressure. It is the spiritual recalibration that happens when heaven begins revealing your true identity. There comes a moment in every chosen soul's journey when the internal shift is so profound that the external world can no longer make sense of them. You may be in that moment right now. You might feel disconnected from old environments, unsure about old dreams, uninterested in old conversations, or strangely protective of your peace in ways you never cared about before. This is because your spirit is no longer operating at the level it once did. You are ascending, shifting into a higher spiritual awareness that demands new habits, new relationships, and new alignment. There were seasons when you questioned why your heart was so sensitive, why certain words cut deeper for you than they did for others, why betrayal felt like a spiritual wound rather than a personal offense. That sensitivity was not weakness, it was spiritual wiring. The chosen feel deeper because they were crafted to carry deeper truth. You learned early in life how to read the motives others ignored, how to sense tension in a room before anyone acknowledged it, how to pick up on the spiritual tone of someone's energy even when their words sounded harmless. And now, as this divine wave rises, those gifts are expanding. You are beginning to discern not just the emotions of others, but the intentions behind them, not just the opportunities in front of you, but the spiritual assignments attached to them. This level of awareness is part of your calling, and whether you realized it or not, you have been trained for it through every storm, heartbreak, and delay you've survived. Chosen one. Think about the times your plans fell apart unexpectedly. You might have blamed yourself thinking you made the wrong choice or moved at the wrong time. But now look again with spiritual eyes. What if God was protecting you from paths that would have drained your purpose? What if the no you received wasn't rejection, but redirection? I remember when I tried to connect myself to people who seemed right for my journey. Everything looked promising, but something inside me felt unsettled. When that connection eventually broke, I felt the sting of disappointment. But months later, I realized I had been saved from a hidden trap. And now, looking back, I see how God redirected me toward alignment rather than attachment. That same protection is over your life. Every door that closed was not loss. It was divine conservation. You may wonder why some people turned against you without cause, why someone you loved suddenly distanced themselves, or why a familiar environment became uncomfortable for no apparent reason. This is the pruning process. When a tree is about to bear more fruit, the gardener removes the branches that drain energy without producing anything. God does the same with you. He removes what cannot accompany your elevation. The relationships that drained you, the places that limited you, the patterns that kept you spiritually dull, all had to go because the wave that is coming requires your full strength and clarity. And even if it felt painful at the time, your spirit now whispers that you are lighter without what used to hold you. Chosen one. Your isolation is not abandonment. It is sacred formation. The chosen often walk alone during seasons of preparation because divine instructions are rarely delivered in crowded rooms. This is why you have felt the pull to spend more time in silence, reflection, or prayer. This is why noise irritates you more than it used to. This is why your soul longs for depth and authenticity instead of surface-level interactions. Heaven is tuning your frequency. God is speaking to you in subtle impressions, quiet nudges, sudden insights, and deep inner knowing. These are not random thoughts. They are spiritual downloads preparing you for what is coming. You may also notice that your dreams feel more vivid lately. Some of them may carry symbolic messages or emotional truths you cannot ignore. Dreams have always been one of heaven's languages, and when the chosen are nearing a shift, their dream realm becomes more active. Pay attention to what your spirit sees in the night. Sometimes the dream is not a prediction, but a reflection of what your soul is processing and what your destiny is pulling you toward. Chosen. 1. The awakening of your identity is also awakening something else, your authority. You might not feel powerful yet, but heaven sees the authority rising in you. Every time you choose peace over chaos, you elevate. Every time you choose alignment over distraction, you strengthen. Every time you choose discernment over impulse, your spiritual rank increases. Authority is not loud, it is steady. It is not boastful, it is rooted. It is the quiet confidence of someone who knows they are guided, protected, and chosen for a purpose. And even now, as you listen, something within you is recognizing the truth of these words. Not because I'm telling you, but because your spirit already knows. You are remembering who you are. You are awakening to the assignment that has been waiting for you. You are stepping into the identity heaven wrote over your life before your first breath. And this remembering, this inner rising, is only the beginning of what God is about to unfold through you. Chosen one, prepare yourself. Because once identity awakens, destiny begins to move. Chosen one. As we continue into this next phase, your spirit is entering a place where the veil between who you were and who you are becoming is thinner than it has ever been. You may feel as though your inner world is shifting faster than your outer world can keep up, and that sensation can be both exhilarating and unsettling. But this is what awakening feels like. It is the moment when the identity heaven placed in you begins to rise through every layer of conditioning, every wound, every outdated belief, and every limitation that once kept you small. You may even notice a strange sense of familiarity with this transformation, almost as if you've been here before in another season of your life. And in a way, you have. Every major shift in your past prepared you for this one. Each breakthrough, each heartbreak, each sudden ending, and each unexpected blessing was shaping the inner architecture of your spirit. Now you stand in a moment where everything God planted in you is being activated. You may recall times when you felt like an outsider, not because people rejected you, but because your spirit couldn't blend with environments that weren't aligned with your origin. There were rooms where your soul felt heavy, even though everyone else appeared comfortable. There were conversations where you felt the urge to stay silent, not because you lacked insight, but because your discernment told you the truth would fall on deaf ears. At the time, it felt like loneliness. But looking back, you can now see that it was distinction. God was marking you. And every chosen soul knows what it feels like to be set apart long before they know why. You are understanding that why now. Heaven did not set you apart to punish you. Heaven set you apart to preserve you. Chosen. One another sign of your rising identity is that you have begun to see spiritual patterns in your life. Certain numbers show up repeatedly, certain dates carry weight, certain people cross your path at significant moments, and certain feelings hit your spirit with no logical explanation. These patterns were not random occurrences. They were signals from heaven, reminders that you were walking on a spiritual timeline much deeper than you realized. And it makes sense that you see these patterns more clearly now. When your spirit wakes up, your vision sharpens. You are able to connect dots others overlook. You are able to understand the meaning behind moments that others dismiss as coincidence. This is the gift of spiritual sight awakening in you. And with this awakening comes a heightened awareness of your relationships. You are beginning to realize that some people were not enemies, they were lessons. They taught you where to place your boundaries, how to guard your energy, and how to differentiate between love and attachment. Others were divine connections sent into your life at just the right time to spark courage in moments when you felt unsure or weak. You may not have recognized their purpose before, but now your spirit does. When God elevates you internally, He reveals the spiritual truth behind the people connected to your life. Some were there for a season, some were there for a purpose, and a rare few were there for your calling. And as your identity awakens, you will know exactly who is who. There comes a point in every chosen person's journey where they feel the weight of transformation pressing against their old identity. You may feel that pressure right now. Part of you is ready to step into the next dimension of your calling, while another part is grieving the version of you that cannot go any further. This emotional tension is normal. Chosen one. You are not breaking down, you are breaking open. When heaven reveals who you truly are, there is a spiritual shedding that must happen. Old insecurities rise to the surface, not to haunt you, but to be healed. Old fears return, not to control you, but to be conquered. Old wounds resurface, not to weaken you, but to remind you of how much strength you carry beneath the scar. This is not regression. This is rebirth. And as you walk through this rebirth, you will begin to notice how your desires are changing. You no longer want what fed your ego. You crave what feeds your spirit. You no longer want to impress people. You want to impact people. You no longer want validation. You want purpose. This shift in desire is the evidence that God is reshaping your spirit for the next level of your assignment. Even your silence is changing. It is no longer a sign of insecurity. It is now a weapon of wisdom. You understand that not every battle deserves your energy, and not every opinion deserves your response. You are learning the power of selective presence. Chosen one identity awakening always leads to purpose alignment. You will soon find yourself drawn to opportunities, ideas, and visions that feel bigger than anything you've handled before, and that is because they are. The version of you that lived in survival mode cannot fulfill the calling you are stepping into now. God is revealing the leader in you, the healer in you, the messenger in you, the warrior in you. And as these aspects emerge, you will notice something incredible. The fear that once held you back is losing its power. Why? Because purpose is stronger than fear. Destiny is louder than doubt. And when heaven calls your name, even the shadows in your soul begin to retreat. Chosen one, you are rising. And soon the world will see what heaven has always seen. Chosen one. As we step into this next part of your awakening, your spirit is beginning to recognize a truth you may have ignored for years. You were never meant to walk the same path as everyone else. Even when you tried to blend in something inside, you resisted. Even when you forced yourself to stay in places that didn't feel right, your spirit kept pulling you out. That resistance wasn't sabotage, it was protection. There have been moments in your past where you felt like life was stripping things away from you, but now you're beginning to understand that heaven was removing what could not hold the weight of who you were becoming. The friendships that faded, the jobs that fell apart, the opportunities that slipped through your fingers, they weren't punishments. They were divine extractions. God will remove anything that threatens the integrity of a chosen destiny. You may remember seasons where you looked around and wondered why others found stability so easily while you were constantly pushed into seasons of transition. While they stayed rooted, you were being uprooted. While they fit into familiar boxes, you were being redefined. But Chosen one, that instability was part of your spiritual molding. God was shaping you into someone who could move with Him, not with the world. You weren't meant to settle into the comfort of routine. You were meant to grow through continual transformation. Every shift in your life taught you something: how to depend on God, how to hear His voice, how to recognize when your spirit was out of alignment. Others may have had comfort, but you were given calling. As your identity awakens, you will begin to see how every moment of discomfort pushed you closer to clarity. You may recall times when your soul felt heavy for no visible reason. You thought something was wrong with you, but that heaviness was spiritual sensitivity. Chosen ones often feel the spiritual climate before changes appear in the natural. This is why storms made you anxious, even when they weren't your storms. This is why conflict drained you, even when you weren't involved. You were sensing what others could not feel. And now, as your awareness expands, you're learning to distinguish between what belongs to you and what does not. You are learning to identify the difference between emotional weight and spiritual discernment. There is another sign of your awakening that you've likely noticed: your inner world has become louder than your outer world. You can feel God speaking to you in ways that bypass words. A quiet nudge, a sudden knowing, a shift in your peace, a feeling that something is coming even when you don't have evidence. This is how the chosen are guided. God rarely shouts. He whispers. And those whispers become clearer as your identity rises. I've experienced this too, moments when I sensed a warning and didn't understand it until later, moments when I felt drawn towards someone or something without knowing why, moments when my spirit told me to wait, even when my mind said go. Every time I listened, alignment followed. Every time I ignored the whisper, consequences came. This is the rhythm of a chosen life. Chosen one. The more you awaken, the more you will notice how your spirit reacts to people. Some individuals will stir peace within you, while others will disrupt it without saying a word. This reaction is not judgment, it's discernment. Your spirit recognizes energies long before your mind interprets intentions. This is why you hesitate around certain people, even when they appear friendly. It's why you feel drawn to certain souls, even when you don't know them well. Spiritual connection is not logic, it is recognition. When you meet someone connected to your destiny, your spirit knows. When you meet someone who threatens your calling, your spirit knows that too. And as your awareness grows, this discernment will become one of your greatest weapons. You may also notice your tolerance changing. You no longer have the capacity to entertain what drains your spirit. Toxic conversations, manipulative people, superficial environments, and spiritually empty spaces will feel heavier than ever before. This isn't you becoming impatient. This is you becoming aligned. The chosen cannot stay where their spirit cannot breathe. God is raising your spiritual standards because He is preparing you for a higher assignment. And part of that preparation is learning to protect your energy intentionally. Not everyone deserves access to your spirit. Not everyone can handle your presence. Not everyone is meant to walk with you to the next dimension. And as painful as that realization is, it is also liberating. Chosen one, as your true identity rises, so will your purpose. You may begin to feel creative stirrings you can't ignore, dreams resurfacing that you buried long ago, passions returning that once felt impossible to pursue. You may feel pulled toward something bigger than your current environment, something that requires faith rather than logic. This is destiny calling your name. Do not dismiss these stirrings. They are not fantasies. They are previews. God often plants vision in your spirit before he plants opportunity in your life. And when the chosen begin to awaken, those visions intensify. You will feel them more strongly because heaven is preparing you to step into everything you once believed was out of reach. There will also be moments where you feel torn between who you were and who you are becoming. You may feel guilt for growing, fear for changing, or sadness over what you must leave behind. But do not mistake this tension for confusion. It is spiritual stretching. Every chosen soul walks through the doorway of transformation, carrying both excitement and uncertainty. But the truth is simple. The old version of you cannot follow you into your destiny. And the more you embrace the new, the more heaven can release what has always been yours. Chosen one. You are stepping into alignment with a divine blueprint that has been waiting patiently for you to awaken. And this awakening is only the beginning of the transformation God is about to unfold in your life. Chosen one. As you move further into this awakening, something deep within you is beginning to shift in ways you can no longer ignore. Your spirit is becoming more alert, more sensitive, more aware of the things that once slipped past you unnoticed. It is almost as if someone has turned up the spiritual volume inside you, and now you can hear what others only sense faintly. This is not your imagination. This is spiritual maturity rising. You are stepping into a level of awareness that was always yours, but was hidden until the appointed time. And now that time has come. You may find yourself sensing changes in the atmosphere before they happen, feeling the energy in a room shift the moment you walk in, or perceiving someone's intentions before they speak. These are not random sensitivities. These are signs of your spiritual rank, revealing itself, the same rank heaven has been preparing you for since childhood. There were moments in your past when you wondered why certain people reacted so strongly to your presence, even when you said nothing. Some were intimidated, some were drawn to you, some couldn't stand you without knowing why. And you spent years questioning yourself, wondering if you did something wrong or if you were too much. But the truth is simpler and far more powerful. It was never about your personality. It was about your spirit. Your presence carries weight because you carry assignment. People can feel when someone is chosen, even when they cannot explain it. There is something about you that stirs what's dormant in others. Light exposes, light reveals, and light disrupts what is hiding in the dark. That is why you were often met with reactions that didn't match your behavior. You were awakening something in them that they were not ready to confront. As this awareness expands, you will also notice your own reactions changing. You no longer have patience for environments that feel spiritually shallow. You no longer tolerate conversations that drain your soul or people who constantly take but never pour back into you. This is because you are being prepared for a new realm of responsibility. A chosen one cannot steward what is divine while surrounded by what is distracting. God is pruning your environment, removing the noise that once clouded your clarity, so that your vision can sharpen. You may feel isolated at times, but this isolation is not abandonment. It is refinement. It is the quiet classroom where heaven teaches you to hear, to see, and to discern without interference. During this phase, don't be surprised if you find yourself pulled toward solitude more than usual. Silence becomes a sanctuary, not a punishment. You may feel the urge to disconnect from certain circles, avoid unnecessary conversations, or step back from social noise. This is not antisocial behavior. It is spiritual preservation. When God is awakening a leader, he often separates them from the crowd, so their identity can be strengthened without the influence of external voices. This solitude is the same kind of sacred space where prophets, warriors, and visionaries throughout time have been shaped. Even in my own journey, the most powerful revelations came during seasons when God pulled me away from what was familiar. At first, it felt confusing, even painful, but over time, I realized it was preparation for an elevation I couldn't see yet. Chosen. One, there is a reason you have felt like you're living between worlds, the world around you and the world within you. The world inside you is growing louder because your spirit is aligning with heaven's frequency. This is why you feel torn between who you used to be and who you're becoming. Identity is recalibrating, vision is sharpening, purpose is clarifying. You may feel the weight of becoming someone new, but this weight is not a burden. It is a mantle. It is the spiritual garment heaven places on those who are called to influence realms beyond their own understanding, and you are one of them. Another sign of your evolution is that your discernment now feels deeper than thought. You don't just observe people anymore, you sense them. You sense their motives, their emotional state, their spiritual condition. You can feel when someone is genuine and when someone is pretending. You can feel when a door is from God and when it is a distraction. This gift is sharpening because you are entering a season where discernment will protect you more than strength. Not every opportunity will be divine, not every invitation will be aligned, and not everyone who smiles has good intentions. God is positioning you to see beyond the surface so that your destiny cannot be derailed by deception. You may also notice that you are being drawn to deeper things. Shallow entertainment no longer satisfies you. Meaningless conversations feel empty. Environments that once felt exciting now feel draining. This is because your spirit is craving substance. The chosen are wired differently. Your soul hungers for truth, for purpose, for revelation, for moments that awaken your inner world. You may find yourself resonating more with teachings, scriptures, prophetic messages, or creative expressions that speak to your identity rather than your emotions. This hunger is a sign that you are growing, not drifting. As you evolve, God will begin highlighting areas of your life that need healing. Old wounds may resurface, not to hurt you, but to liberate you. Pain you ignored, memories you buried, patterns you accepted, all begin rising to the surface. This can feel overwhelming, but it is necessary. A spirit carrying divine purpose cannot carry hidden decay. Healing is the cleansing fire that purifies your identity. It burns away what does not belong so that what remains is transformed, strengthened, and aligned. You may cry. You may feel things you thought you were over, but every tear is an unspoken prayer. Every release is preparation for resurrection. Chosen one, everything you are feeling right now, every shift, every tug, every uncomfortable stretch is heaven shaping you. Your evolution is not accidental. It is intentional, personal, and sacred. And as your identity rises, you will begin to understand why you were always different. Chosen one. As this awakening deepens within you, something even more profound begins to reveal itself. Something that goes beyond sensitivity, intuition, or spiritual clarity. It is the unveiling of your true spiritual identity, the rare and hidden blueprint heaven placed inside you long before you took your first breath. You may not have had the words for it when you were younger, but you felt it. You felt the sense of being different without understanding why. You felt the unspoken separation between you and the world around you. You felt older than your age, more aware than your peers, more intuitive than those who taught you. These weren't personality traits, they were spiritual markers. They were hints, whispers, reminders that you came into this world carrying something sacred, something ancient, something heaven-crafted and earth-needed, and now that identity is stirring again like a lion waking from a long sleep. There were times in your life when you tried to fit in because fitting in seemed easier than standing out. You forced yourself into rooms that drained you, relationships that dimmed you, and expectations that limited you. And no matter how hard you tried something inside, you resisted something inside you refused to shrink. You blamed yourself for being too intense or too sensitive or too emotional, but none of that was the truth. The truth is that your spirit could not compress itself into spaces that were never aligned with your calling. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to carry divine distinction, and the tension you felt was not dysfunction, it was destiny trying to protect you. As your identity awakens, memories from your past may suddenly look different. You will begin to understand why certain doors were blocked, why certain people walked away, why certain opportunities never materialized. What you once thought was rejection was actually rerouting. What you once believed was failure was protection. Heaven was preserving you for a time when your gift would not be wasted and your anointing would not be exploited. And that time is now approaching with a rapid intensity. The winds of destiny are shifting around you, chosen one, and even if you cannot see the full picture yet, your spirit can feel the movement. You may also notice that you are beginning to attract different kinds of people, not those who drain your light, but those who recognize it. People who see something in you that they cannot explain, people who feel peace around you without knowing why, people who confide in you as if their soul has met yours before. This is because your spiritual frequency is rising, and as it rises, those who resonate with your purpose will be drawn to you, while those who are misaligned will naturally fall away. You won't need to force the shifts. They will happen effortlessly because identity always reorganizes environment. In this stage of awakening, you may feel moments where you sense heaven watching you more closely, guiding you more intentionally, speaking to you more clearly. You may feel prompts to wait, to move, to let go, to speak, to trust. These are not random impressions. This is guidance. This is partnership. This is the Spirit of God training you to respond to subtle signals, because the level you are stepping into requires sensitivity to spirit rather than sensitivity to circumstances. You are no longer being prepared for ordinary battles. You are being prepared for assignments. Your dreams may intensify, your intuition may sharpen, your awareness may expand. Things you once overlooked now appear significant. Patterns you once ignored now make sense. The veil between the natural and the spiritual is thinning for you because you are being positioned to walk in two realms at once. And at times, this may feel overwhelming, but it is not meant to break you. It is meant to teach you the language of heaven. As your identity rises, so does your responsibility. You will be called to make decisions that don't make sense to others, but feel undeniably right in your spirit. You will be asked to walk away from situations that no longer match your vibration. You will be nudged to elevate your habits, your thinking, your discipline, your faith. Not because you are failing, but because you are evolving. You are stepping into a dimension where old ways cannot follow you. And chosen one, understand this deeply. Your awakening is not just about you, it is about the people who will one day be guided by your voice, strengthened by your journey, healed by your testimony. You carry more than identity. You carry inheritance. You carry breakthrough. You carry revelation that someone else is praying for right now. And the more you embrace who you truly are, the more heaven can entrust to you. So let this identity rise without fear. Let it unfold without resistance. Let it shape you into the person you always sensed you were meant to be. Because this unveiling is not an accident. It is acceleration. It is the fulfillment of what has been written about you in secret. And now, chosen one, you are finally ready to see it. Chosen one. As you step into this final stretch of awakening, something extraordinary begins to happen within you. It is the moment when everything you have sensed, everything you have survived, everything you have carried in silence, finally starts aligning into a clear and undeniable truth about who you are. This is the stage where identity stops whispering and starts declaring, where destiny stops hinting and starts revealing, where the spiritual signs that followed you your entire life finally come together like pieces of a divine puzzle. And for the first time, you see the shape of what heaven has been forming in you all along. You begin to recognize that nothing about your journey was accidental. The unusual patterns, the sudden losses, the sharp intuition, the early wisdom, the emotional depth, the way people reacted to your presence, the way storms found you, the way miracles found you too, all of it was evidence. Evidence that you were marked, evidence that you were watched, evidence that you were guided, even when you felt abandoned. Evidence that heaven placed something in you that the world could not dilute. As this realization grows stronger, you may find your confidence shifting from something external to something internal. It is no longer dependent on validation, approval, or acceptance. It begins to rise from a deeper place, a place that remembers your true spiritual origin. You no longer walk into rooms hoping people see your worth. You walk in knowing that your worth is not up for negotiation. You begin to understand that the weight you carry is not burden, but birthright. It is the spiritual authority that comes from being chosen. And as this awareness settles into your bones, you also start noticing that the things that used to intimidate you no longer do. Fear loses its grip. Insecurity loses its voice. Doubt loses its influence. Because identity brings clarity, and clarity brings courage. But with courage also comes revelation. You will begin to see yourself differently, but you will also begin to see others differently. You will see through motives, intentions, energy, not from suspicion, but from discernment. The masks people wear will become transparent to you. You will feel when someone is meant to be in your life, and when someone is meant to exit. You will feel when a season is shifting, even before the signs appear. And this heightened spiritual perception is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to prepare you. Because the chosen are always called to walk ahead of the crowd, not behind it. In this season, you may also feel the pull to elevate your thinking. Thoughts you once entertained now feel too small. Habits you once tolerated now feel misaligned. Environments you once accepted now feel spiritually loud. This is because your mind is catching up with your spirit. Old patterns cannot survive in new levels of awareness. You are being called to adopt a mindset that reflects your identity, not your history. A mindset rooted in faith, not fear. In purpose, not pressure. In truth, not illusion. Even in my own journey, there were moments when I realized that the greatest shift I needed wasn't happening around me, but within me. And once my internal world elevated, my external world followed. Chosen one. This is also the phase where your gifts begin to activate more strongly. Things you suppressed because you didn't understand them now feel natural. The ability to sense energy, to read situations intuitively, to foresee patterns, to comfort others without effort, to feel spiritual movement before it manifests, all begin intensifying. Your creativity may burst open. Your dreams may become more vivid. Your empathy may sharpen. These gifts are tools. They are instruments heaven placed inside you so you could navigate your calling with accuracy. And now heaven is unlocking them because you have reached the maturity required to steward them. With this activation comes responsibility. You may feel prompted to release relationships that are no longer aligned with your destiny, not out of bitterness, but out of necessity. Some people are tied to the version of you that no longer exists. Some seasons are tied to the version of you that you have outgrown. You will not lose people. You will release patterns, and everything that is meant for your next chapter will align effortlessly. This is the beauty of spiritual identity. It does not cling, it chooses. It does not chase, it attracts. It does not fear endings, it recognizes them as divine redirections. As you embrace who you are, you will also notice a new kind of strength rising inside you. A quiet strength, not loud or boastful, but stable, grounded, unshakable. You will find yourself responding to chaos with clarity. You will find yourself moving through challenges with wisdom instead of panic. You will find yourself trusting God in ways that surprise even you, and this trust is not blind. It is built on the history you share with heaven. Every time you survived, every time you healed, every time you were led, every time you were protected, your faith is no longer based on what you hope for. It is based on what you know. Chosen one, you are stepping into the truest version of yourself, the version heaven always saw, the version your spirit always carried, the version your past tried to bury but could never destroy. You are not evolving. You are emerging, and as you emerge, the world around you will begin to shift in response. Doors will open, insight will deepen, strength will grow, purpose will unfold, and your identity, the identity written over you before time, will finally stand fully revealed. Chosen one. As this message settles into your spirit, know that heaven is revealing who you truly are. Walk forward with clarity, purpose, and the boldness of one anointed for this hour. May your identity rise, your path brighten, and your faith remain unshaken. If this word confirmed your spirit, share it and stay connected.